They say love and hate are two sides of the same coin, but how far would someone go when passion turns into rage? It was supposed to be just another night of drinks and laughter. Randall Stuart and his wife, Leria Hastings, spent the evening at a club, surrounded by friends. Hours later, they pulled into a friend's driveway, exhausted. But within moments, everything changed. Randall was on the ground, bleeding, gasping for air, his wife wailing in distress. Leria told police she had no idea what happened. She said there was a mystery man, a fleeting argument, and then, Randall was stabbed. But as detectives pressed her for details, the cracks in her story became impossible to ignore. Why did she hesitate when asked simple questions? Why were there so many contradictions? And why was she so desperate to control the narrative? Tonight, we unravel the twisted tale of lies, jealousy, and a crime that never should have happened. Stay with me as we uncover the truth behind the wife who thought she could fool everyone, but couldn't. Some nights change everything. Some nights are the beginning of the end. It started like any other evening. Randall Stuart and his wife, Leria Hastings, had been out drinking, celebrating with friends. They laughed, danced, and let the night carry them away. But little did Randall know, he was just hours away from death. By the time the couple left the club, it was late, well past 1 a.m. Randall was tipsy but in good spirits, while Leria, his wife of just a year, seemed different. Something was off about her that night. Instead of heading home, the two of them searched for a hotel room, but found none. So, Randall suggested they crash at a friend's house, Julia's place, just until morning. Leria agreed. At around 5 a.m., they pulled into the driveway. Randall realized he had lost his phone and stepped outside to search the car. Leria followed. And that's when it happened. A scream pierced the air. A woman's scream, Leria's. The next thing anyone knew, Randall was lying on the ground, clutching his chest. Blood pooled beneath him. His breathing was ragged. His hands trembled. Within minutes, the scene turned to chaos. Julius and the others inside rushed out. 911 calls flooded in. The sirens of emergency responders broke the morning silence. But despite everything, Randall didn't make it. And now, the police had one urgent question: who killed Randall Stuart? His wife, the only witness, claimed she had no idea what happened. She said there was an argument, a fight between Randall and a mystery man. She swore she saw someone run away into the night. But when detectives looked around, something didn't add up. There were no footprints, no signs of anyone else being there. No one else heard this mystery man. And yet, Randall was dead. Stabbed. Which meant one terrifying possibility: was the killer standing right there all along? This was only the beginning of the case, one that would expose secrets, lies, and a truth darker than anyone expected. Coming up next. Could Leria be telling the truth? Or was this an act? Why did her story keep changing? And most importantly, what was she hiding? Stay with me, because what happens next will shock you. When people lie, they think they can control the story. But what happens when the story starts controlling them? Sitting in the cold interrogation room, Leria Hastings looked exhausted. She had just lost her husband, yet something about her grief felt off. The detectives had seen this before. Some people crumble under the weight of loss. Others? They perform. So they asked her to start from the beginning. She told them the same story she had told at the crime scene. Randall went outside to find his phone. She heard yelling. A man, someone she didn't know, stabbed her husband and ran away. Simple. Clean. Almost too clean. But when detectives started asking for specifics, things started falling apart. What did the attacker look like? Leria hesitated. I don't know, maybe short. Maybe black. Did Randall say anything before he fell? Another hesitation. He was cursing at the guy, I think. So you saw the guy? Her eyes flickered. No, I heard his voice. Then how do you know what he looked like? Silence. Piece by piece, her story was unraveling right in front of them. And then, something even stranger happened. She changed the story entirely. Now, Randall wasn't arguing with a man in person, he was arguing on the phone. Wait. What? If Randall was fighting with someone on the phone, then who stabbed him? Every answer she gave created more questions than it solved. The detectives weren't looking at a grieving widow. They were looking at a suspect. Was this really a random attack? Or was Leria spinning a web of lies to cover her tracks? Detectives were about to play their trump card, and Leria had nowhere left to hide. Interrogations are like a game of chess. Move too fast, and you lose control. Move too slow, and the suspect slips away. The detectives knew Leria Hastings was lying, they just had to push her until she cracked. Leria, let's go over this one more time, one detective said, voice calm but firm. You said Randall was on the phone. But also arguing in person. Which one is it? Her lips parted. Then closed. Then opened again. I don't know. Maybe he was on the phone first, then the guy came out of nowhere. The detectives didn't even flinch. Okay. So tell us, Leria, what did this guy look like? She hesitated. I already told you, I couldn't see. But you knew he was shorter than Randall? Another hesitation. I just guessed. And that he was black? Leria swallowed hard. She was running out of room to maneuver. And then, the detective delivered the final blow. Leria, Randall is dead. Silence. A long, uncomfortable silence. Her body tensed. Her eyes darted to the camera in the room. She was thinking, calculating. Then, almost like flipping a switch, she let out a dramatic wail. No, no, no. Oh my God, no. But something was missing. Real grief is raw. It's messy. It's immediate. And yet, Leria had to think before she reacted. The detectives saw it. And now, they knew, they had her. Would Leria finally confess? Or would she keep playing the victim? Detectives were done playing games. The final showdown was coming. And the truth? It was about to be exposed. Leria Hastings had talked herself into a corner. She had spent hours spinning a web of half-truths and contradictions. But now, the detectives weren't letting her dodge the hard questions anymore. Leria, we need you to be honest with us, one detective said, his voice calm but firm. She nodded quickly, too quickly. I am. I swear. Then explain this. The detective picked up his notepad and began reading her own words back to her. Randall was on the phone when he was stabbed. But also arguing with a man in person. There was a stranger, but she couldn't describe him. She saw the attack, but didn't see who did it. It didn't make sense. None of it made sense. Leria's breathing grew shallow. The detective didn't stop. Randall was stabbed right in front of you. There was no one else around. So I'll ask you again, who stabbed him? Silence. She blinked rapidly, like she was searching for an answer that didn't exist. And then, the detective dropped the final bombshell. We found no evidence of another person at the scene. No footprints. No fingerprints. Nothing. The only person there was you. Leria's face drained of color. This was it. The moment of truth. Was she finally about to confess? Or would she dig herself even deeper? Leria Hastings had lied her way through the entire interrogation. She had tried everything, denial, fake tears, shifting blame onto an imaginary attacker. But now, she was cornered. The detectives had the facts. The only person who could have stabbed Randall was her. And yet, even now, she refused to give in. "I don't know how he got stabbed," she insisted. "Maybe someone else was there. Maybe it was an accident." The detectives didn't even blink. An accident? Yes. Maybe he fell. Maybe. On what, Leria? One detective cut her off. On a knife that just happened to land in his chest. Leria froze. She had no answer. Because there was no answer. The truth was clear as day, and everyone in that room knew it. One of the detectives sighed, flipping through a thick folder. Randall's autopsy report. He slid it across the table. "This says otherwise. It says Randall was stabbed with force. A controlled, deliberate attack. One that could only have been done by someone standing close to him." Leria's fingers twitched, but she didn't reach for the file. She didn't need to. She already knew what it said. For the first time since the interrogation started, she stopped talking. Stopped making excuses. Stopped lying. But silence wasn't a confession. And until she admitted the truth, the detectives weren't letting her go. So, in the end, Leria Hastings lost everything. She thought she could lie her way out, but the truth always finds a way to the surface. Randall Stuart lost his life that night, but in a way, so did she. This case is more than just a murder investigation. It's a warning. A reminder that anger, jealousy, and secrets can destroy lives in an instant. Relationships built on dishonesty and betrayal often end in tragedy, and the choices we make, even in a single moment of rage, can never be undone. Leria may be serving her time, but Randall's family will serve a life sentence of loss. No punishment can bring him back. No amount of regret can change what happened. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe this was self-defense, or was it something much darker? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy deep dives into real-life crime stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. There's always another case to uncover, and I'll be here to tell it.